Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first thank SAGES for the opportunity to present today Social Media and CME, a Future Surgical Learning Environment. This project was pioneered by the IHC International Hernia Collaboration. So briefly, surgical education was in the 19th century more like an apprenticeship program until William Holsted in 1904 brought the model from Germany to Johns Hopkins and created what the general surgery residency we know nowadays. And this is really the main platform for surgical education that we have now. In 1932, there was a major statement by the AAMC saying the time may come where every surgeon or physician may be required in the public interest to take continuation courses of current methods of diagnosis, treatment, and prevention. In 1999, a similar statement was also issued by ACGME, talking about self-assessment modules for surgeons to be recertified. Recently, the American Board of Surgery in their recertification program also included a lot of self-assessment modules for recertification. That said, these self-assessments can be majorly, or this competency is in part achieved through CME credits, and those CME credits can be either now be obtained either through online modules or webinars, and the difficulty with that is really people, you're just sitting in front of a computer and really just waiting for the lecture to get done so that you do the questions. It's non-interactive. Or the other method is really the conferences, which also has its limitation. There is a lot of cost, money cost, and time cost, being away from family, and of course the empty lecture rooms at the end of each day. At the same time, we're living through a technology revolution that has led to a social media revolution. And in 2012, Dr. Brian Jacob from Mount Sinai, he created a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group called the International Hernia Collaboration. And how this group really works, if you can see here, this is me scrolling through the group. A surgeon would put a case. And for example, this Dr. Rod Jacobs from Australia, he posts a case. He has an infection post-hernia repair, and he gets feedback from a lot of surgeons worldwide of what is the best way to tackle this problem. And here there are surgeons from the US, from India, from Pakistan, and from Australia, all giving their feedback. Another example would be like Dr. Dawood from Connecticut posting a case here, a CT scan, pre-op CT scan, and checking what is the best way to tackle this hernia in this young lady. And every time we have a CT scan posted on International Hernia Collaboration, the name Eric Poli, who's a hernia surgeon at Penn State Hershey, and also an excellent radiologist at the same time, comes up and say, like, for him to give a feedback about what's going on the CT scan. And this is when I thought, well, I want to be like Eric Poli. Why don't I contact him and see how can I be like him and learn from him? And then I said, like, why don't we all learn from him at the IHC? So I contacted Dr. Brian Jacob, who was very receptive of the idea, and we contacted Eric Poli, and we started what we call the IHC Lecture Series. This is the first lecture series. This is him and his chief resident, abdominal wall anatomy and CT imaging in hernia patients. And this constitutes really two parts. The first part would be a lecture, a video lecture like we see here. He would post it on the group where all the members on the IHC have access to it. Here, for example, he's talking about anatomy, what to look on CT scans, how do you find the previous mesh, how do you know that you need component separation just on CT findings. And we'd give 48 hours again for the 24 hours for the members to see this lecture. And then afterwards, after 24 hours, we get him up on a Facebook Live. You can see how casual this is. He's drinking wine and eating cheese. And at the same time, getting all these questions from all over the world, right? Starting from India and the east side to the US West Coast, and getting all these questions and answering them instantly. This was a very successful lecture. We had 1,100 views for the live question and answer that we continued and did 9 lectures so far, once each month, all I bet you all recognize these names. All are hernia gurus and are big names in hernia surgery. 9 lectures, 6 surgeons from the US, 1 from Mexico, 1 from Colombia, and 1 from India. And the question and answer live session always had about 1,000 views or more. Here we had a technical issue that I'm responsible about, but otherwise, really more than 1,000 views every time. Just take a pause. I just want to take a pause. Look at this lecture room and multiply that by 100 or 50. This is how influential this is. So we measured these lectures. We checked the Facebook engagement. And for each lecture, the average number of likes per the lecture was 71 and the comments was 20. As for the live sessions, the number of likes was 61 and the comments was 100.9. As for the Facebook really has something called Facebook engagement score, which measures 2 times the number of comments plus likes plus number of reactions over the numbers of posts. And here, I'm going to pause this. These numbers are 107, the engagement score for the lecture. As for the live question and answer, it's 259, compared to 46 for our regular post, which is statistically significant. So really, people want to learn, or the members of the IHC wanted to learn with this method, and this shows through their engagement. After the second lecture, starting the third lecture, we introduced CME Credits, and we partnered with Cinemed to start giving CME Credits 1 credit per hour, so that the people who, or the members that are there really are getting rewarded for the time they're spending. Overall, we had about 16 surgeons claiming CME for every lecture. And again, as every project, we have benefits and limitations. The benefit for that is these lectures are archivable and accessible. You just go to the IHC, you print the name of the presenter or the topic, and it comes up. It's not like here you cannot have access to what I'm saying after I'm gone. You have access to word readers in hernia surgery wherever you are. Just go to the Facebook live session, type your question and answer, and it comes out, and it's for free. The limitations for sure are difficulty to access the full scope of data regarding user interaction, and Facebook is working with us on that aspect so that we can have more interaction. This platform was well received by the American Hernia Society, which approached us that they wanted to do their the AHS Resident Committee lecture on using our platform, and Dr. David Chen and Dr. Shafin really had a great lecture with more than 1,000 views each. There is no question that the future of social media is going to impact all of us on a daily basis, and truly it's going to impact the surgical education. This week, the IHC is one of the first groups to get provided tools by Facebook to have what we call a mentorship program, which is a program, again, unique to the IHC currently. And we have a mentor and a mentee that we can put together, and they are matched together with similar interests, and then they can really have a program where the mentor would teach the mentee for a certain period of time. Finally, I have no doubt that this is going to be our future conference. It's just going to be, when is that going to happen? Thank you.